thank you all for coming. I want to lead off with, I'm not going to give names because I don't have permission, but I want to offer our condolences and thoughts and prayers to a Lansing resident who passed away in the night. The tree fell on her house. It's tragic, and we're certainly thinking of the family. I've had a chance to visit with the family. They're certainly in shock. But we're going to do everything we can to assist that family. But please, everyone know that we're checking in. Tough night. This has been a very tough night. We have had significant calls and emails, texts, social media. We appreciate everybody who's providing us information, using the Board of Water and Lights contacts, using our 24-hour contacts, 311. We encourage folks to continue to report to us if it hasn't been. Any downed wires, any trees in the street. We have crews all over the place. I've been able to drive around a good chunk of the city. Certainly here on the south side, we've seen tremendous damage. Over on the east side, on the west side, it's really everywhere. It's really everywhere. So I want to thank our staff. We have folks that are pitching in, helping out. We have citizens that are out there, cutting trees for neighbors. This is really kind of an all-in response to a very tough situation. Let me see what I forgot. We will have after-hours contact, so we encourage everyone to call 311, put it into Lansing Connect online. If you call afterwards and there's again a down tree in your street or something, you can call our 24/7 operations and maintenance number, which is 517-483-4161. We will have crews clearing streets, pushing to the side. We encourage people to make sure to put things on the sidewalks. We're going to navigate how we deal with it from there. In the past, we've collected bulk amounts of trees and things and put them into Krigo Park, and we'll navigate that as we go. First, we want to make sure safety. We want to make sure that streets are cleared, people can get through. We're certainly clearing dead ends and things where folks have to be able to get through. We'll get main streets, we'll get bus routes, we'll get neighborhood streets. It'll take time, and we ask for everyone to be patient, but if there are emergencies, please let us know. If you have any medical emergencies, call 911. Certainly call 911. I will be issuing this afternoon, or probably right after this, I will be issuing an emergency declaration for the city of Lansing. I have been in contact with the governor's office. They are very aware of the situation here in Lansing and in mid-Michigan. Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin reached out. She's here with us today, but she has offered the assistance of the federal government wherever they can, both today and into the future. Again, we want people to be safe, but we also know this is going to be tremendous cost to the Lansing taxpayer. We're gonna do what we got to do right now to keep everybody safe and to get it cleaned up, and then we're going to be working with the federal government, with our state government, to see what we can do for aid, because we're going to need it. So I will sign that emergency declaration. Anybody that wants a copy can get with Scott Bean in my office, and he can provide it. Again, it's being drafted right now, so that should be complete. And then again, we're in contact with the governor's office to let them know. I also want to thank our Lansing legislative delegation. We've heard from them. I've been in contact with them. So it's kind of all hands on deck here for folks in the city. So I have with me several of our department directors. First, I want to have Dick Peffley speak, and then I've got Andy Kilpatrick, who's our public service director. We have Captain Katie Deal, who's here on behalf of LPD, and we have our fire chief, Brian Sturdivant. And for those who don't know, our emergency management goes through our fire department. And when I say these folks are tired, they've been up all night, please give them a little bit of grace, but they're all going to share some updates. And again, if Congresswoman Slotkin wants to have any comments, we always welcome her. She is always here when we need her, and we appreciate her being here today. So I'm going to turn it over to Dick Peffley.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'll give you a quick update on where we're at right now. When the event happened last night, we immediately opened our emergency management system and staffed it. We have restored 6,000 customers approximately. We still have 27,000 customers out. That's about 30% of our service territory. We've got 27 broken poles, 75 transformers that are damaged, and over 400 wires that are down. So we have a big lift in front of us. And right now, a lot of the customers see our outage map is working as designed, but it has 5 days in there. We're hoping to improve on that because there's a lot of streets we can't get down to even assess. So we had to look at a default for worst case scenario. So we're hoping to improve on that. We brought in 22 tree trimming crews to help the city clear streets, and we also have issues out in the townships that we're dealing with. So once we can get in, we can get a better estimate on when we'll be able to restore the power, and we want to beat that bogey, of course. So safety is job one. We're doing everything we can. We have the resources to restore your power. We just need the time. We have got 25 crews coming in from New York. They'll be here within the next 4 hours. So we've got cities north of us that are sending crews down. So we have the resources. We just ask for the patience so that we can get your wires back up. And that concludes my remarks.
All right, we'll take questions afterwards. Captain Deal, do you have anything to say, or?
Just all we'd like to say is that, again, we have great sympathy for those who have lost their lives on this tragic event, and please be patient with us as you call emergency services, and we will respond as soon as we can get there. Thank you.
Our folks have been great. Our LPD have been great responding throughout the night, and citizens have been great understanding, you know, what's an emergency and what's not. So thank you to everybody in Lansing, and thank you to LPD. Chief Sturdivant, give a quick update on LFD and emergency management.
Good morning. As you all are aware, we did have a significant storm incident that passed through last night. It moved relatively quickly, so that was to our advantage, but it was quite devastating with some wind gusts up to and exceeding 80 miles an hour. That 80 mile an hour wind gust is typically the threshold for siren activation from Ingham County's 911 center and their emergency management office. So there were reports of, I think we hear sirens, not quite sure, but they did get activated. Right now we've got crews on standby to work with public services and public works as it relates to clearing debris. We've identified them as a chainsaw task force. So if there is a need, we will be able to activate that component. Also, we're monitoring for any additional weather-related incidents that may be blowing through, because we do understand there may be some gathering of some cells that could cause some additional damage and devastation. We have our community emergency response teams currently out in the community conducting damage assessments. They're taking notes. They will load that information into a software platform to provide us with a comprehensive reporting of what the damage that they have been able to identify. I, as the fire chief, have a bit of a concern because I have some members that were on duty last night that are working in an overtime mode today, and so the whole sleep deprivation and the exhaustion piece becomes a bit of a safety concern for us. So we are monitoring that very, very closely. Also, I have reports that a couple of our members may have had some significant damage at their homes, so we want to be able to support them as best we can also. Outside of that, I'll hand it off to Public Services and Public Works with Andy.
Hi. As other blocking the road, a huge tree, small tree, and it will take us some time. We have multiple crews out there right now, and as Chief Sturdivant said, the fire department has offered assistance, and that would be greatly appreciated. We'll get a list to them and they can help clear things to the side of the road, but it will take a while. The last storm that we had come through was kind of concentrated on the east side of Lansing. This is everywhere, more on the south side, but it's scattered, and so it's going to take us some time with our crews to get out there, but we will keep working. And as Chief Sturdivant also said, our crews have been there overnight, and we'll work 16 hours and then you take a little bit of a break before they keep going on. But we are pulling from other crews, from our road crew, our sewer crew, and others to help our forestry crew get things cleared. And you know, as we have updates, we will put those out to people, but we appreciate patience. And if you're able to see maybe a small branch in the road and pull it off, great. Don't do anything with wires around it. We are not doing that. We coordinate with the Board of Water and Light, and as things are clear, then we'll get to roads. But understand, if there's live wires or things that might be live, we're not going to be messing with trees at that point in time until we know they're clear to get out of there. So help your neighbors if you can, but be safe. So if you don't know how to operate a saw or chainsaw, or don't strain yourself trying to move something out, you can't. And we'll get through this. And just thanks for your patience.
All right. I'd like to ask our Congresswoman to say a few words, kind of putting her on the spot here, but
Just really quickly, I just, obviously as the federal representative of the area, we're stand ready, waiting to help in any way that we can. Obviously, you've heard the mayor is making the decision to declare an emergency. We're talking with the state as a region about what to do. But I just want to emphasize how complex this is, given how many places we have damage, not just in the Lansing area, all of Ingham County, Eaton County, Livingston County, 96 still closed in a certain place. It's one thing when you have a localized emergency, but when you have this kind of broad-based damage, I just have to give a special shout out to the mayor, to our fire chief, to our police, first responders, our emergency managers. We have people who did some pretty heroic things last night. They've been up all night, and this kind of complexity is not every single day. So as the mayor was saying, give them some grace, give them some time. Everyone's working full speed, and then please be neighborly. Check in on your neighbors, particularly your older neighbors. How can you help? What can we do as we give this next 24 hours a time to play out? So thanks very much.
thank you, Congresswoman. Are there questions from the media?
I was just wondering if at this time there were any other confirmed fatalities.
Not that we know of.
Okay, got it.
Not that they've been reported, but still, we're still early, so.
Right.
What can you tell us about the fatality? Is that apparently it involved a woman and it involved a tree falling? Is there anything more you can tell us about that? Where it happened? About what time it happened? Whether anybody else was injured?
Nobody else was injured, although there was a dog that was in the room. We believe the dog is also deceased, but don't have confirmation.
Okay.
It's in the Fabulous Acres neighborhood. Again, I'm hesitant to give out her name because I haven't gotten permission from the family. But it was a very, very large tree that came down on the house, on the bedroom, and the house is completely unstable. So our fire department was there in the middle of the night, or early last night. They mounted a search to see if there was anybody in the house. There had been discussion of someone in the house. We didn't have confirmation. Our firefighters went through an unstable house, and they found the victim, and they have worked with the family to rope off the home. The Board of Water and Light came in and shut off the gas and the water to make sure that nothing explodes. So there's been a lot of work in that area, but we have to get the tree off the house, and we're going to talk with our public services about getting the tree off so that way they can get in and make it safe.
Do you know what street it happened on?
I
Where the
do.
house was?
I'm not. Let me see if we can get that out. I do. But let me talk to you after.
Do we know of any injuries?
I don't know the name offhand. I'm trying to remember.
Do we know of any injuries that may have been caused by any of the down wires?
I don't.
No, we have no reports of any injuries related to down wires. But we do want to remind everybody that a lot of people, when the wire comes down, they figure it goes dead because the Board of Water and Light kills it. That is true most of the time. But folks that have generators, that power can sometimes feed back and re-energize that wire. That's why you always need to be careful, even if you think the line is dead overhead.
Other questions?
Not
All
at
right.
this time.
Thank you all for being here. We'll try and keep you updated as we go.